for your heart. It's the good for your heart. And the more you eat, the more you fall.
Ain't blowing in from across the sea. It lingered there, touched your hand, walked all summer long. We sang a song, and then we stole that golden sand. Sweethearts and the safety.
The more you fight, the better you feel.
Mumbles.
So eat your beans.
Craig is here. Oh.
Craig's there.
Craig has been listed.
Blacklisted.
He's been Craig listed.
Craig's listed.
Yeah. Seems he's embarking on a new endeavor.
I was just on Craig's list.
Well, maybe you saw him there.
Perhaps.
Soliciting the world's oldest profession, to put it politely.
He's a whore.
Well, that's a little less polite, to put it that way. We could use the informal form of English.
Yes.
This is a special edition.
Unexpected treat.
Well, it depends on what end of the recording device you're on. I'll take that as a positive compliment.
Yeah.
I myself can't seem to get less of myself. So it's...
Why not?
Well, it comes to a point in every man's life where the ego meets the true ethereal self.
Yes.
It's a struggle for many of the creative, artistically minded mumbles. Maybe you can relate to this. I don't know.
Well, let's see what you're going to say.
Well, only 609 knows what I'm going to say.
Oh. Yeah.
Amen. Ra.
Og.
Hubak bar.
Yeah.
So, I wonder, Mumbles, have you ever butted up against your own ego? I mean, your name alone lets us know that you have deep roots in the Scotch-Irish lineage.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
What is it like to embody so many interesting characteristics in just one package? How do you organize yourself with yourselves?
How do I do what with myself? How do I order myself?
Precisely. How do you arrange the pecking order of the selves?
Oh, how do I arrange the pecking order?
Yes,
I guess. Yeah, that's a good question. I guess I go by feeling, but I don't know if those feelings are taking place in the same place every time. You know, like
that's an additional conundrum.
Yeah. So usually I just do whatever I feel.
Right. Aye. Who's that?
Is what?
I do whatever I feel. Who is that Who is that?
Which eye is that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the one that's talking to you right now.
Whoever happens to be talking at the time.
Right.
Coming through one instrument, it appears from my perspective, even through the digital devices, that there's, one, in my imagination, there appears to be one physical instrument that your eye comes through. And when no one else is around that eye,
Huh.
and it's the mumbles as we imagine it to be.
What'd you call it? An icon?
Oh, it could be an icon. I never coined that.
Wow. That's
Maybe I did.
I don't know.
Did you just do that?
Icon, yeah. Yeah. It's a con.
This is going to be a very special breaking news report from the other side of the wind, which we'll call the eye of the storm.
Eye of the storm of the 6.9 tornado.
Put on your rubbers, because I feel a
Pull
wind
up your
brewing.
galoshes.
Oh,
Galoshes.
they're stirring up a recipe overhead right now. So
Are they? They were having one over here last night.
they dumped it, or they're preparing to dump.
Oh yeah, they dumped a lot of rain yesterday. It was pretty good.
pretty good.
Yeah, everything's pretty wet. So,
Well,
of course, I was staining a deck yesterday, or no, what was it? Yeah, the day. Yeah, I finished staining the deck around noon, and then started pissing around 4.
it seems anytime that you get around wood outside, it inspires precipitation.
Yeah.
This is your own. This is the Mumbles compound food observatory distribution deck.
Oh no, this is a paid job.
Fuck.
Doing house around the corner.
That's convenient.
Few blocks. Yeah. No, it's like 5-minute drive.
That's better than hauling ass into the city.
Yeah, it just doesn't pay that much. And like today, I got fucking boned because everything's still wet. I can't really do anything.
This is why
till the wood dries out, and then I go back over there and
wait for the next problem.
Hit it again. Yeah, wait for it to fucking rain on it again.
Yep.
So yeah.
So
whatever.
This is the expression of an eye.
Right.
That performs functions to exchange burned calories as energy for conceptual monetization and ad nauseum. Complete retardicus sentence.
Yeah, so
so we got that form.
Today the one eye overpowered the other eye, and I found myself free to do whatever I'd like today because this eye would rather not do shit. Where the other eye is like worried about making some money for the day. The stronger eye was like, fuck that.
This is very Rastafarian of the eye. The eye.
Yeah.
The eye and the eye often
I
agree to disagree.
What's his name? I Kamosi.
Ayatollah Khomeini.
No, the hot stepper. Here come the hot stepper.
You're
I think
much,
that's
you're much more,
I Kamosi.
you're much more informed than I am on these matters. Your eye can
Yeah.
outdo my eye anytime on these topics.
Yeah.
Iowa's he. I was he. Iowa's he. That's Crowley's poop birth vag alien.
Yeah. Ayahuasca.
Iowas was the name, and then there's ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Iowa's he. Well,
Well,
just say it like a Rastafarian. Iowa's he. Iowa's. I was he.
yeah, that's like a lot of words are like that.
Yeah.
Not so much English. English is really meant to confuse people, but there are a lot of like the Upanishads, you know
Yeah.
that book,
No.
you know that book. You know
No.
what I'm talking about?
No.
You know the
No.
bug
Bhagavad Gita.
the Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita, baby.
But anyway, you
Yeah.
got the Upanishads. The Upanishads.
Forget about it.
Yeah, that's like opening up the shades. Open the shades. Opening the shades. And it's about like the whole book is about like, pulling back the veil. And
This.
that's just how I remember to say the name Upanishads.
Well, you should read it to us all.
I would like to read it to the audience. The names, I would love to trip over all those names in those books. Um, right now, my wife has been borrowing the book for probably about a year. I still don't think she started to read it, but she took
To
it. She took it with the intention to read it.
Well, that's where all good things start, is with the intention.
Yeah,
Some seeds lay in the soil for many years.
yeah, a long time.
Yeah. Maybe this is an
Long,
attempt to learn more about the the I that she exists with outside of herself,
yeah,
meaning the you. What about IOU?
and sometimes why?
Always why.
Yeah,
Most of the times, what the fuck,
yeah,
but always why. That's good.
uh,
It's
yeah.
good you have a better half that engages this material. Well, assuming she's reading it.
Oh well, she hasn't been reading it. Like it's been
Keep the
sitting in the same spot for like a
under
year
the table leg to keep the table from wobbling.
now. Yeah,
This is about
yeah.
the right height.
That and the Gita, both of them just been sitting there waiting for her to read it. Yeah, she never takes any of my suggestions to read anything until like then she'll like listen to a podcast and somebody will say oh, that's something you should read, and then she'll want to read it.
Yeah. That's probably where most of us started. I don't know where I started getting into this stuff. Who cares is the answer to that question.
Yeah, it's just like she doesn't want to listen to what if I tell her, then I'm wrong. But if she hears it from somebody else, if she hears it somewhere else, then it's like, oh yeah.
You've got that Charlie Brown's Peanuts teacher syndrome. It really gets complicated when it passes through the mumbles. Like it's a double whammy. You're really going to have to get several prescriptions for your wife to be able to listen to you. I hope
Yeah,
I hope I hope
well,
you're medicating in some capacity.
yeah, she likes. She's back on her wine phase.
Maybe that's because she
Like
listened.
like she stopped drinking for a while, and then it's like, uh, she's gonna be all fucking sober, and like always like talking talking down on me that I'm always fucking abusing substances. And then, like, a week or two later, she's fucking drinking again. I'm like, whatever, whatever. I don't fucking care. But, like, she'll smoke weed with me. Like,
Oh,
it depends on what I have, like,
yeah.
she doesn't really like the oil. So, like, if I got dry flour, and she'll
Mm.
smoke it with me for the most part, but I don't think she really inhales it.
She's just humoring you.
Well, no, she's all right. She's okay.
Well, I have to tell you, like I'm on a new, not a new protocol, but we'll call it the second stage of whatever protocol I'm on, and alcohol at this point will become a danger if I ingest alcohol and attempt to
Yeah,
do this protocol. So the motivation to, well, it's not even a motivation. It's just it's off the menu, and that I always enjoy those moments because of there's a lucidity that I forgot about.
right,
It's not practically applicable to anything in my life, but there's a lucidity and things like dreaming becomes more informative, and
yeah,
there's a thicker brake pad between me and the other eyes
right,
outside my front door, which makes it easier to navigate. And
right,
I'm making decisions based on something that most people don't uh, utilize in their life. Most people utilize thinking and logic to navigate this stuff, and that works. But
right.
it's, to a high degree that works in the material
Yeah,
world. But then there's something else. There's something other, an ethereal database, and I cannot access that
the
when
Akashic records. Are you talking about the Akashic
I
record?
don't call them that. I don't call them that.
Etheric database, you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, you can see that they're referring to exactly the same thing. But eventually somebody's going to take
All
those
right.
Akashic records and turn them into DNA heredity and then get it all scrambled. So I just try to avoid all the words and make my own. But
Yeah.
there's an
Yeah.
information
All right.
system. There's an ethereal connection that you have sort of well, let me just say this. Alcohol is not on the menu at present, and I'd forgotten about a lot of the benefits that come from that. And then I listened to the Mumbles audiobook that I can't remember the name. What was the audiobook that you read? I call it the Wine Diaries.
Oh, I don't even know how you say it. It's some fucking Turkish
It's
shit,
like
or some Muslim thing, right? That
it's
one? Is that what you're talking
it's
about?
got a B and apostrophe and then a lot of letters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was beautifully read
Yeah, it's
by
poetry.
Mumbles Undertone, McFlurry Breath, the
Poetry.
Turd. And it was one of the last things. Was it one of the last things? No, I paid a pretty penny to listen to that. I want you to know.
You poor bastard.
And I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, no, I
And
liked it too.
it was the presentation that I enjoyed. And it made me laugh because I had just started my protocol, and
Yeah.
every other sentence is a reference to, you're gonna be dirt again. You came from dirt. You're gonna be dirt. Drink wine,
Drink wine.
which is an oversimplification of it, but
Yeah.
it's really it's a beautiful read, and it's a beautiful listen. And your voice with the new microphone is well, you're just a beautiful man, Mumbles.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think being on the outside of your eye, being an eye myself, I can perceive that um, your paintings and your audio book career and your ability to relay information to other people over these mysterious airwaves to
Yes.
listeners. I can see that it is inspirational not only in my own perception of reality, but others as well. And I want to send a big kudos, congratulations to Ricky. Ricky from Montreal.
Yeah.
His fashion upgrade
Yeah. That was a
as a
lovely video.
as
Lovely
a
unboxing video.
truly truly fun to watch.
Yeah, he
Really,
looked like he was having a good time. Having a good
yeah,
time.
definitely having a good time taking a joyride, unboxing the box. That was very fun because I wasn't sure that it was only the day before we had recorded
Yeah.
episode 19.69,
Yeah.
and I had asked you if you'd sent the
We
box,
talked.
and
Yeah.
you weren't sure if the box had arrived because of a certain postal
Yeah. It
code
must
or
have.
something like that.
It must have been. It must have been getting there like right as we were talking
Yeah,
about it.
wouldn't surprise me. Those old etheric databases work in mysterious ways.
Yeah. Yeah. We were plugged into the same Ethernet cable.
Interesting. Very interesting.
You just- yeah. Well, are we creating this etheric net, or is it
That's a popular
like
popular
like
interpretation.
I think that it's like kind of working backwards. I think that the internet became the internet with more people connected to it. So we're building the web, um,
Oh yeah.
and it's getting its information from the end user, and then it's just basically reports it back,
Yes.
and then anybody can
Yes. That's
access it. So
my
um,
my newfound clarity resonates with that assessment, man.
yeah,
Because everything is an opt-in agreement, whether you know you're opting in or not, and then every action that you take, even if it's passive, a passive action, just watching videos that have real no substance to them, you're still participating.
yeah,
You're creating data by just watching it, and
yeah,
that information is valuable to whatever human or computer algorithm to rank it in a certain way and distribute it. So actually, the more shit that you watch, in a way, the more you inadvertently popularize it, and it pushes itself. It's interesting. It's like being a spider and the web coming out of your ass, and you're kind of just walking around, and you're looking behind you, like, where did this web come from?
yeah, yeah.
You
There's
know,
just like a string coming out your ass.
I think that's the best explanation of the internet yet. a string
Yeah.
coming out of your ass. And you can hang yourself with it, or you can build another net.
Boris the spider.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we're
Remember that?
Boris the Spider?
Remember that song?
Absolutely not.
Boris the spider.
Would you sing it for us?
No, but I do want to see if I press play on this here recorder that I've been putting audio clips into, if it would be picked up by Craig.
Are you going to put it through your ASMR microphone?
Yeah, well, it all went through with that already, but I'm just wondering if I press play, will it be picked up by Craig or even by you? Would you be able to hear it?
Well, let's see if I can hear it, and then whether Craig records it or not, that's another matter.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. If you could hear it, and if I could hear it, I think Craig would record it. Let's see.
Let's see.
Did you hear that?
I heard a button click.
Oh, you didn't hear me talking about Vivi?
Well, I mean, it was such a short time. Did I fall asleep? Am I being hypnotized? I hear nothing.
You don't hear anything?
Are you feeding it through the computer, or is it just coming
It's
through?
on the computer. It's on the computer.
I see.
That's why I'm trying to see
I
if
see.
it would just come through or not.
You probably have to go to your internal, wherever you
It's
make.
not worth it. It's not worth it.
You don't want to do a tech talk? All right.
No,
Fine.
you know, we could do the tech talk. I'm just saying I'm not gonna go through any effort to do anything with the audio that I have.
And this is what drives your wife to the bottle.
Yeah.
Well, the I and the ego.
Yeah, it was
and the veil.
It was
yes.
Yeah.
Go.
Right. Okay. So it was a segment I was going to do called Mumbles Says the Darndest Things. And it's basically just reading all of my comment history. And I don't know. I thought it was funny at first, and then I'm just, the more I think about it, I'm like, eh. But
well, that's the problem. I think when I was younger, I didn't really think about things, and I created a lot of good stuff. Nobody cares about it. Nobody cares about it now, but I made some interesting strings come out of my ass.
Yeah.
And I can look back on it now and say, oh, what a mess, but it was fun. So, yeah,
right.
I love it. The darndest things. Mumbles presents the darndest things.
Well, Mumble says the darndest things. And,
well,
yeah, and because it's all going to be out of context, because it's just going to be like reading the comment on multiple different videos over the course of, I think there's 2 years worth of history.
Yes.
So
it's better than King's things.
Well, right now it's like an hour and 45 minutes long, and I only read like the first year's worth of comments.
Oh, you already recorded the whole thing.
Oh, I only recorded like half of it so far.
No, but I mean like an hour and 45 minutes worth of...
Yeah.
Almost says
yeah,
the darndest things. This is great.
Well, and I was like, when I was originally recording, I was like, all right, so I'm gonna have like my commentary on the comments that I've made, and just like expand on it to give some sort of context to what it is.
Like a jump off point.
I was kind of just like, oh, I think it's funnier without the context.
Yes.
So then I was editing and taking all of my commentary out of my comments.
Oh God, you love
I don't
strings coming out of your ass.
Well, yeah, because it was going to be like a commentary on my comment.
Wouldn't it have been just easier? Wouldn't it just have been easier to re-record it?
Well, yeah, probably. But I can't hold myself like together. Like my attention
I
span is
know, I
just like,
know.
I've been recording it in like 30-minute clips, and then just piecing it together.
Well, it seems like the studio is growing over there. Like you really are. You have editing capabilities, spending much hours
Yeah, I'm trying not to spend
playing around.
too much time in front of the thing.
It's hard.
You know,
It'll get you.
it's like I'm torn every time I'm sitting in front of it. Like I feel really at home, doing it, but
Yes.
I just feel like I need to be doing something else that's like actually productive in a real world environment and not on a digital platform that can easily be, just disappear
Yes.
like it
Well,
was never like it was never even there.
there's nothing to show for it, and the that's what's probably happened to a lot of people's inner workings is that that digital way of thinking or commodifying information or organizing information in your brain, it does something with it does create an infinite um, false reality where you expect things instantly and you're constantly led further and further and further away from your physical self. Like, for example, uh, what's the old analog versus digital, right? There's debates on quality and things like this. But if you think about
Right.
like someone brought this up the other day actually, and it was a stick shift versus a manual shift vehicle versus automatic. When you
Right.
when you are the sort of the go between of the mechanism and the action, there's there's a there's a deeper root or appreciation or sense of mm, there's a higher sensitivity to what's happening. If you're on a steep incline in a manual transmission, you're experiencing a different physical relationship to that incline than an 18-year-old girl in, daddy's Lexus on that same steep incline. She might be behind you and lean on the horn real fucking hard as you're engaging the manual transmission, but you're experiencing a different sort of reality. So analog and
Right.
digital, kind of the same thing, where she can just put her tender, pale foot with
Yeah.
uh, her Crocs onto the accelerator and get an instant burst of satisfaction. You know,
Her
it
Crocs.
yeah, her
Crocs. She wearing
Crocs.
Crocs.
She's wearing white Crocs. I was thinking jelly shoes, but I don't know if they make those anymore. I don't
I
know if
don't
those
know
are.
if those are still hip.
Yeah, I don't. I know that they make really unattractive blisters and scars on women's feet.
Oh yeah.
You can take a beautiful woman and destroy her with jelly shoes. It's just one of those things in the '80s that I'm not nostalgic for. One of the many.
Yeah, I hear you. Hear you.
So
Yeah, but well, like
analog
each
and
one
digital.
has its own benefits, and like the manual transmission is good for them hilly, the hilly areas, just in the sense of saving your brakes.
Yes.
Uh, like where the other one, yeah, you have better responsiveness. You don't have to, worry about going through your gear changes, and some people like it just for a convenience factor, but it does have some drawbacks,
So
so
in the realm of benefits and drawbacks, yes, of course, but on that subtle level, your perception of how time flows for example, when you sit in front of a computer, you can lose a whole day and have absolutely nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
But if you can still turn a wrench on an engine all day and have nothing to show for it, but there's going to be echoes of your presence, There's going to be stripped
Right.
screws, and there's going to be, broken bottles and
Right.
spilled liquids, and
That's money in the bank right there, old boy.
yeah, man.
Well, start the
There's going to be
job.
there's going to be an echo of your physical presence, where in the digital world there's nothing. And
Right.
even something that you can quote unquote create, like a website, where does that exist? It does. Someone can dial it up and they can see it, but it's still in this strange limbo between reality and conception. The
Yeah, it's
screen,
just,
this and so you can lose a day editing a breaking wind, and what do you really have to show for it except episode 19.69, moon trailer. Moon
trailer.
trailer. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I gotta listen to that one again.
Yeah,
I did some fancy audio editing on that one.
I could tell towards the end it was becoming a burden, and we needed to do some do some pretty ham-handed cuts.
Oh yeah.
And I love that you texted me that most of the labor was editing out my sighs.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of long pauses and sighs.
Just trying to give Mumbles space to, letting the packet travel from my end of the hose
You're right, the
to
packet
his end of
rape.
the hose so he could hear it. But that was a disaster of a day on my end in the analog world. And
Oh yeah.
I think it was thoroughly captured in the digital world. So enjoy that one,
Well, it
folks.
sounded good from what I did hear, like in the playback. It sounded good.
No, it sounded great. Like I was coming through, and you were coming through. There was
Yeah, we just didn't
nothing.
hear each other.
I heard
We
you
just didn't
okay.
hear each other really. I didn't hear you. Like half of that stuff that you said, like it came through. Everything came through on the recording, but I didn't hear half of the words you were saying. You know?
I guess it's kind of always been like that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't said anything about it today, but it's still happening. Like you're still cutting out. But
I have a
I'm just,
totally
you
new
know,
connect. I think it's by the time the packet gets to your router, something is
it's the
being.
delay because you'll speed up sometimes. Like
You
you'll
too, you
have
too.
like, oh yeah, like yeah, it'll be like real fast, and I'm like, that's not real how he's really talking.
That's
Like
precisely exactly how I
maybe.
talk, Mumbles.
Yeah, right. Like the Micro Machine spokesman guy, right? Remember that guy?
Oh yeah,
Read, speed,
he sang "Beat
read
It"
like
on the
the
local CBS
disclaimer.
station. He sang Michael Jackson's "Beat It" in
Yeah,
under 9 seconds. Some
right.
algorithm showed me that, I'm sure, the other day.
Huh. Well, now it's going to definitely come up after we say it.
It will, and that's a strange thing. For example, when you do your painting videos, you won't talk about painting, but uh, I'll get, and there'll be no reference in the description or comments
Right.
to painting, but I will get suggested videos of, how to create a blue wash to create sky, or a Bob Ross, or
Yeah.
an
Sometimes you
abstract
get good
painting
stuff.
documentary. But that's coming strictly from the visual content of your video. It's not coming from anything that you said, and it's not coming from anything that you typed. and that's pretty
Oh,
fascinating.
if you could see all of the tags, because sometimes I put tags and I don't know where to find them, like after the fact.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There's the hashtags that show up in the description, but then the tags that you type in, you can't see those, and I don't know why. It seems
Right,
like it would be valuable, but then I guess
right,
if you saw them, probably you would understand the inner
right.
mechanics of the YouTube
Yeah,
shit
you
show.
would just be copying and
Yes.
pasting everybody else's descriptions,
Yeah.
which I've been finding. I just go on Google and search, like top trends or top search results, and it'll give you like the list of
Yes.
like the top hashtags, and then I'll just copy them. And
Generally just pisses people off who find it when they're looking for,
yeah,
backyard street fights, or
oh yeah, like
Minecraft.
Justin Bieber videos and shit.
Yeah.
Like I'll have
What
my
the fuck
stuff.
is this shit?
But I'm getting clicks, so
Well, that
who
I
cares?
guess that's what they taught you at the old YTU.
Oh, I dropped out already. I didn't.
Did
I
you?
didn't go. Yeah, I haven't gone yet. I
Yeah.
have.
You didn't.
That's what I do that a lot. I just talk about doing things, and then I don't actually do.
This is the problem with me being like an earnest person. I just take people at their word, and when
Oh
they
yeah,
don't, I'm flabbergasted. I can't believe
yeah.
it. You really disappointed the family, Mumbles. You were going to be the first one to go to YouTube University. Do you know
It's
how
so funny.
excited
Yeah,
your uncle is?
yeah, yeah. I was. I was on that recording of Mumbles says the darndest things. I was cracking myself up talking about how I was um I attended the Burger King University and I was recruited. I was recruited out of Burger King University to like an elite group of internet hackers that infiltrated YouTube to
Oh,
undermine McDonald's core business.
it's probably just enough to keep you off an airplane these days.
Oh
Just to say something like that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm wondering if well, of course I'm just jumping topic here. Usually keeping the old fucking breaking wind blowing.
Yeah.
I wonder sometimes if I don't want to change course on the presentation of myself online in this capacity.
How do you
I
figure? What do you
well,
What do you
we
mean?
create a lot of audible content, and even when I'm in the presence of people who know me, I don't often trust the people with me. I don't trust them to have the capacity to be fair or thoughtful. And I won't say that at all I portray a character besides giving myself a pretty unattractive name to dissuade people from, taking it seriously. But the things that I say are things that I would say to, for example, a close friend like Mumbles, an brother, as I like to call
Yeah.
them. And this isn't a private conversation; it's a recorded conversation that we're putting out, accessible to anyone who I certainly have seen, um, whatever entities are out there. Of course, a lot of them are sock accounts or trolls or even just regular people who don't have the capacity to think creatively,
Right.
or you know can't make a distinction between the I and the I and the I. I say some pretty there's some charged stuff out there.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you know what inspired this line of thinking? Well, I was kind of thinking about it before, but this is what inspired it was the recent Feature Man. Feature Man's
Oh
approach
yeah.
on how to prevent suicidal gunmen from making
Yeah.
bad decisions. And he
Yeah.
said
Don't say anything.
he's
Don't talk. Basically, don't talk.
basically don't talk. And if
Yeah.
you feel bad, eat some watermelon, eat some chocolate.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna
Mumbles,
comment on that.
I gotta be honest with you. That resonated with me. I said, as a matter of fact, here's an older gentleman who really appears to be a person, and an entertaining, creative person who's lived.
He buys up. He buys that whole all the narratives. Like he goes for everything. Like
Are you sure that he buys the narratives, or as an older gentleman, as you know, you're in your um, mid 30s? I think that's public knowledge. Yeah.
oh
When
well.
you go back, who knows what egg you came out of and
Who knows?
what
Which
animal raised
which
you.
eye? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it all depends on what I relate with,
Well,
right?
without going too deep into the Akashic database, just taking the physical brother that I'm speaking with supposedly now in the physical realm, we for convenience sake agree is here and now. By the
He's an
Pope's
Ebro.
my Ebro,
He's an
Ebro,
Ebro. Do you think I want an Ebro running my company?
dude, you're an Ebro. You're my Ebro. I love this.
Yeah.
Maybe we could create a fermented alcohol beverage and call it E-brew.
Alcohol's
Let's.
no good though. Alcohol's bad.
It's good for keeping the fucking goyim in line. Can you
Oh,
imagine if they didn't self-medicate with you
fuck
know, five
yeah, it
six
would be
percent of
horrible.
poison? Yeah, they'd
Yeah.
they'd string us up in the streets. They'd string us up by our jury curls, jury curls,
Jury?
jury curl. No,
So what were we talking about? I thought we were on to
Feature
something
Man. We
good.
were talking about
Oh
Feature
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
and I
Right,
was
how
saying,
he
I
yeah.
was
Okay.
saying, with the perspective. Okay, so I was saying, as as a let's assume that the Mumbles is in his mid 30s, and he looks back to when he was in his you know late teens. Like, you have a perspective based on experience, and at a younger age, it really is like, depending on who you are, sort of fuck the world, skate or die, get out and do. There's really, uh, you know, you could do some graffiti. You can bounce around. You're a little bit more rubbery. You can take a beating.
Hmm.
And then as you get older, you start, maybe you're a property owner, and some fucking kid comes around and every day, spray paints "dick" on the side of your house or something like that, which is a great tag, "dick."
Yeah.
And but it's on the side of your house. It's not convenient, and so you have older man's perspective, and you see him one day, and you're like, you don't, from experience, not to approach him like, you goddamn, you darned
Yeah.
idiot,
Yeah. Hooligan.
you hooligan.
You damn hooligan.
Yeah, well, you're gonna come at him from a different angle. It's like, oh, Dick, pleased to meet you. It's like you chose red. I would have chose, I don't know, I would have chose burnt umber, something to that effect. It's like, oh, this old guy's not mad at me. You're taking a different approach to kind of prevent dick being sprayed on the side of your house. So as you get older, I think you feel a little bit more of, yes, I can perceive that the man has been involved in entertainment, obviously, for a while. He doesn't seem to be a huge success in the sense of like mass media, but on YouTube he's found an angle. And one thing that crossed my mind is like he's soft trolling, you know? It's like I'm gonna
Yeah,
get,
right.
you know, I got that silver play button. I was like, I want that gold shit, son. I want that gold button, son. You know, because what else he got to do, Tom Willett, out in Tennessee, copyright 2019. But also, he probably feels a bit of responsibility to not to find a way to approach that subject without triggering something that's going to be bad for him or triggering, you know, something to be a bad influence on other people. So it just seemed to toe right down the middle, just like an old dude deliberately kind of giving advice. But I wasn't under the impression that he entirely bought the narrative. But when he said, you know, to prevent doing something wrong, eat some watermelon, eat some chocolate.
Yeah.
As far as self-medication goes, I've never found neither watermelon nor chocolate to kind of scratch the itch. But a goodly old man saying that could perhaps be a decent influence on younger or more, not even a younger person, but a more vulnerable, media vulnerable person, which I call an MVP. I just coined MVP.
Ooh, nice. MVP.
Yeah,
Nice.
you like that? See, that's how I keep myself on airplanes.
Nice.
Well, so what your feature, man? Of course, my initial reaction was the same thing. I was like, this motherfucker.
I think he I think he believes what he sees in the media.
I guess that's, you know, this. Let's start there because that's the simplest. I did watch him, you know, happily devour a hungry man frozen dinner that he prepared in the microwave and scooped out the provided dessert and put in his own dessert. And I believe put on some toxic fudge and sprinkled some brightly colored chocolate candies on top.
You don't eat that way and not be under some sort of spell.
Yeah, for me watching that is like watching I guess what people would they watch Fear Factor, where Joe Rogan makes you eat, you know, rotten worms or donkey dicks or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I get
like,
the same effect when he made that relish salad. Did you ever see that's
I think I seen it. I really
he took some lettuce and
it was gross.
he poured ketchup on it. And that's where he lost me.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't lose me. I was like, oh, this is geriatric jackass. Like he's gonna eat this. And it was on a small styrofoam plate, and his table was the electric stove in his kitchen, and you could hear the plastic spoon. He was eating the salad with a plastic spoon scraping across the styrofoam plate.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. But that's when I became a true fan.
Yeah. Yeah, he made his own salad dressing.
But I think he was just eating dinner and videoing it.
Yep.
And that makes me sad. So it's hard to accept that he can watch the media. And at this ripe old age. And but what's the harm in it, man? I don't know. Where do we go from here? The feature man accepting the media. You unpack that.
He has to be. I mean, like I said, unless it's an entire a character in its entirety, you know, because I don't think
that seems like a lot of effort for that.
I don't think awake people, tend to eat that way with the just the TV dinner alone. Like I don't think.
I mean, this is an open and closed case for Mumbles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna ingest that type of stuff and think that you're getting like a wholesome, good meal, and you're gonna talk about the fucking moon landing and all that
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, did he talk about that too?
Well, I don't know. I didn't watch that one. I saw something about moon or going to space or
Yeah.
going to Mars. Like he talks about all that stuff. He's like, "Well, I think they could do it," and I don't really like pay much attention to it. I
I
just,
no, I don't. I mean,
I focus on him eating his watermelons, and uh,
yeah,
sometimes he'll like watch his unboxing
yeah.
type videos. And,
Well, I mean, this is a
yeah,
thing. Like, we get to customize what we watch now, not like the days of yore where you had like forgive me, I have to clean that. Now it's clean. When you had the dial on the television set, whatever was on the television set was on the television set, and that's what you would watch. Like, you didn't maybe want to watch Archie Bunker, but there was no alternative, so Archie Bunker was the good show to watch. Now you can just kind of customize whatever you want to watch, and then the
right.
algorithm can kind of lead you by the nose to watch something, and you think you're choosing it, but it's kind of being suggested to you. Just like what media was designed to do, is kind of lead you to
Yeah,
behave in a certain way and accept certain values. That just seems to be the nature of what media is in tandem with politics and entertainment. So there's no great mystery anymore. There's like no reason to dissect events. These events have always taken place. They're just happening on a different scale because of how they can distribute the information and get feedback on the information so quickly. And after all that ramble, we get to choose what we watch, but then also we kind of get to interpret what we watch our own particular way. So Mumbles can enjoy scooping out a circle of watermelon and pouring in some M&Ms and watch an old man clone himself. I mean, he's better at the computer than I am. It's fun to watch. I get a good chuckle out of it. But often the
but
sadness,
he's got all the time. He's got eternity to sit there in front of his computer and do that shit.
I assume so. He could be
And he's definitely on some sort of fixed income.
you
You know,
you don't think he's raking in the royalties for the Noah the Ark song?
no, I mean, I think he's probably, got some sort of pension or
Yeah.
whatever, social security. He's probably, 1,000, 1,200 bucks a month, if that. I'd guess.
He's doing better than me. He's at the end of the line.
Is it the end of is it the end of what?
He's at the end of the line. The end of the slaughterhouse line.
Slaughterhouse what?
Now don't do
Slaughterhouse
this to me
5?
again. This is your router.
What? No, you're breaking up now.
I've done nothing different. Oh, maybe it's because maybe the ambulance going by. Hang on.
You're an ambulance or a fire truck or something.
I think maybe that's a problem. When there's noise in the background, it'll interfere with my voice. How about that?
Perhaps.
Yeah. Because when you try to play some music or something like that, your voice cuts out. Like basically everything cuts out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the nanobots can only concentrate on one thing at a time.
Yeah. But anyway, I think my assessment is that he's a genuine person,
Yes.
and yeah, I don't I don't think he's that clever. I think he might have had some fame, earlier in his life, and didn't manage his wealth, and finds himself where he is now.
Wow.
I think he enjoys what he does. I think he likes, I don't know. I think it gives him some sort of feeling of purpose.
Yes.
Makes him feel
That's the
alive.
impression I get.
It makes him feel alive. So I mean, unless, yeah, I don't think he's clever enough to, like, uh, know that these things are like staged, and then not talk about them being staged.
Well, I hear you. That's a problem from my perspective is I'm assuming people are making the decision on how to present themselves because that's kind of the realm I have to live in. Once you start getting into, you know, the realm of the breaking winds,
Right.
you've got to perform a little, what do they call it? Persona, some kind of management, like public public affairs office has to kind of be built into your
Yeah. PR.
PR department. Yeah, because I'm not the type of person anymore where I judge people as like, if they bring up, it's like, well, something billions and millions of years ago because outer space. I'm not going to shit down your neck because you just referenced outer space. I live in a place where this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this is the lore, this is the folklore of the day. This is the living myth and I'm immersed in it. So I'm not going to out myself as a fucking space denier or whatever, Everything's you
Yeah.
become a denier or a
Right.
so I have to engage the public on a certain level, and it gets difficult at times. So I'm not really controlling my image. Certainly I'm not controlling it well, but it's enough to engage. Like I can have a fun conversation with somebody who's totally vanilla, if they have a decent grounded heart, or sense of humor. Or old boy, you're talking to old boy. He's running around grabbing dog balls, sleeping in his garage, but Mumbles relates to him just fine. Just fine. That's a
Yeah.
language
Well.
Mumbles
Yeah.
can speak.
You got to use the
Or
broken English and stuff.
yeah,
But
precisely.
I try to
So
talk to him. Like if I like him, and I'll take the time to like try and give him some sort of
yeah,
understanding. But yeah, like if it's just like day to day fucking jerk off, bullshit, like where you just got to deal with people to deal with them, and yeah, I'll just appease them, and
yeah, that
just
seems to be the way.
not talk about any of my personal personal philosophies,
I
or
don't know.
my own. I won't give my own insights,
Yeah,
a lot of the times. But unless it's somebody that I like, and I want to, raise them up a little bit. But
sure.
yeah, but even then, it's like I find that to be a little egotistical. So
Yes,
like a lot of
yes,
times, I just leave it alone. I leave
yo,
it alone, but I'm not going to propagate it and be like, talking about a fucking shooting, a hoax, or whatever the
yes,
fuck happened in Texas or El Paso or something. I'm not going to fucking talk about it to a camera. And
Yeah.
especially if I'm just talking to a camera, especially like, why wouldn't you, like you don't need to filter yourself because you're talking to a fucking camera.
Okay.
It's not like you're talking to somebody in person. So it's more like a fucking video diary, if anything. So he's gonna be honest with
Right.
himself.
Oh, you're
Uh,
talking about Feature Man.
oh yeah,
Anybody.
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 Like
Yes.
what you would say into a camera and put onto YouTube would be different than what you would say to somebody in a face to face interaction. That's my point.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the boundary I'm butting up against right now.
and in the
And
same sense, if like in his own words, whatever, don't know when to shut up and don't say anything. Like if he didn't genuinely believe that these events occurred, why would he say anything?
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think for me, I've got my brain quarantined into different levels where I say, what does this situation call for? How do I approach this? Where I think other people, they say, well, okay, there is a distinction between the character Feature Man, but my name is Tom Willett, and I am a man, and I live in Tennessee, and you know, doing a little entertainment, but it probably stops there. I kind of assume that these people that put themselves out there, especially the people that put their face out there, are putting more deliberate thought into their presentation. But I guess
I
I'm
don't think so.
I that's really just it's not surprising to me, but I guess it's it seems like well that's why there's so many strings coming out of so many retarded spiders' asses. It's kind of taking this really wonderful
Yeah,
platform and
like feature
just shitting
feature
it up.
man is like a fifth dimensional, highly activated soldier
Well,
here to fucking recruit people off of YouTube.
well, I know fully well that that's the least possible scenario,
Yeah,
but I don't
yeah,
concern myself with that at all. I mean, for example, something that was so is such an interruption to the good discussion about the nature of the physical realm or Earth or the planet. And you could see how the debate would be swayed. They always do this trick where they say, is it flat or is it round? And it's like,
right.
I'm not talking about round. I'm talking about a fucking perfect sphere. And it's like, that's the thing. It's a sphere, but the debate,
Right.
it can never go that direction because they keep repeating round. It's just simple. That's just a simple example. But then there's, um, language that gets introduced and it never goes away. And uh, I hate
Right.
using the word, but it's someone who's disingenuous. Like the appropriate definition of what they call an SHILL is someone who is selling something to you on the down low. Unbeknownst to yourself, you're being kind of advertised an idea or product. And
Right.
that was introduced. I remember exactly how it was introduced, and I remember how it was echoed throughout the discussion when people were doing some pretty cool experiments like modeling different magnetic and electrical effects and the illusory powers of water and light and prisms. There was some cool stuff going on in like 2016. And then the whole thing became this disruption through that word. And I don't believe that there is that there, but I believe that I perceive people being disingenuous and driving the car only so far and then going, oh, well, we're out of gas. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
there's still gas
like
in the
Joe
tank.
Rogan.
let's drive into the desert, man. It's like, well, does anybody want some snacks? Does anybody need to use the toilet? It's like, start the fucking car. Let's go. This is obviously the trajectory of the conversation. And
Yeah, but like a lot of the people are can't, they're limited to their capacity.
yes, I
They're,
obviously that's the case. The audience is limited by a
yeah,
certain
like
level of
until they
stupidity.
know. Yeah, they're not going further because they really don't know
Right.
until they hear the next thing elsewhere
So
to fucking just pass it on.
so like how an infomercial to a certain person living, I don't know, I always bash the Midwest, but people tend to be pretty, I don't know, I wouldn't say gullible. I say gullible or naive or innocent. We'll just say
Gee
innocent.
whiz. Oh
Yeah.
golly gee.
Yeah. And I spent time out there and I run into people that have moved from the Midwest to New York and I go, oh, you poor fuck, you're going to get ass raped so hard. Not by me. Not by me, don't worry. But I want to prepare you for the
Right.
ass rape you're going to feel. When you're
Yeah.
nice to that
Yeah.
person, they're going to stick their dick squarely into your ass. And you've never felt anything
Exactly.
like it before. And then you're going to wake up and your
Oh
money's going to
gee
be gone.
golly.
Yeah.
Oh
And
gee whiz.
so those G whizzers, we'll just call them G whizzers. I'm coining a lot of phrases today. Or MVPs, media vulnerable persons.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like MVPs,
yeah.
and I like
Well, we're going to get rich off a
the
lot. One of
etheric.
these ideas is going to
Or,
make us
or what's
rich.
the other one? The etheric database.
What is that? Is that we spell it with an A or an E? Let's see. If they're database, so D. So it's got to be
Well,
an
A. I
EDP,
spell it with
ADP, ADP. No, ADB. The Atom.
A.
But
All
okay,
right.
so there's these people in the Midwest that will watch something like an infomercial, and they or the Home Shopping Network is a good example. It's like, oh, they're or Oprah.
Gee, I need
Oprah. They're
all
selling
those
this.
knives.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, that's a good deal. That's a good deal for that. What is it? Made in Japan. I don't know. It sounds like fucking
Yeah.
Bangladeshi, but that's not the point. The point is,
your, your, your Midwestern sounds like a Bangladesh.
yeah, it's not my fault,
Yeah.
man. I've got a lisp.
Oh, gee, golly.
Yours is better, but the the Akashic records of the Midwestern accent seems to be limited to gee gosh, golly, gee whiz, like not very deep ADB there.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
there's not a lot of people connected to the field over there because
yeah.
of their,
Well, their
uh,
media, well,
you know.
they are generated, they are created by the media. They're born into the media, and they die through the media. And okay,
Yeah.
we'll just leave it at that without judgment. I just say they're vulnerable to these. What are these? What are these people? These people are obviously influencers. I don't know that there's any answer to this question because there's so many people doing so many things, but there is a pattern of
Right.
these people who are characters. Some of them are more adept at presenting these characters through speaking or through video presentation. But there's obviously a hyper real that's my term is hyper realistic shill. They look like genuine people and they take these concepts that people can kind of think and muddle together but can't package. And these people conveniently put a bow on these ideas. But what they're doing is holding you in front of these events, like constantly. Like if you're doing media event analysis or what you want to call a hoax, they keep bringing you back to the media that
Yeah.
you should more than likely, for self-betterment, ignore. Except, oh, this is the nature of what the media does. It's always done this. It's happening at an accelerated pace because of the technology available. But this shill concept is immediately glued to, oh, you are paranoid and you think they're CIA agents going, no, I don't. But I see disingenuous people presenting characters because I know what a disingenuous person looks like in real life and on television. And I trust my own judgment, but I can't understand. There has to be an incentive, but it's not like they're making money off YouTube. That's not what I'm talking about. Or they're making money off flat earth t-shirts. Obviously that's not it. But I know where my motivation comes from. If I'm inspired by something naturally, I'll make an artwork, a painting, or a gift for someone. Which that never happens anymore. But when I'm motivated in the other way, it's generally a financial incentive. Otherwise, I'm not going to finger blast you in the asshole, Moishi, unless you give me money to do it. And Moishi says, well, you're not going to have access to the internet so that you can do your silly little broadcasting program unless you put your third digit into my rectum. It's and I was like, all right, how much? He's like, well, how fast are you going to go? Don't go too fast. I don't want to come too quick.
Yeah.
I want to get my money's worth. So, money becomes a factor. And
Do you wear a glove? Do you wear a glove at least?
When they're there. I won't wear nitrile gloves. I'll only wear vinyl.
Vinyl? No latex?
The latex is iffy. I don't want my client to break out in an ass rash. Or what I call an AR. I don't like to speak crudely in front of my clients.
No.
Well, so there's, you and I, there's so many things that we've said in these 20.69 episodes that can be taken one way or another, suspicious. Or if we were on video, I'm sure we would have flashed some gang signs or covered an eye or fucking put my hand on my face in a certain way. There's so many things you can point to, and that shit's retarded. There's a connection between the media and the entertainment, and there's a narrative, and there's agencies, but these agencies seem to be narrative control. So should I even be confused or interested in the idea that there are people in this form of media behaving this way? What's your take on this stuff? Because you're in it.
Oh, I ignore almost all of the things, like media events.
I ignore it.
It's like even like the feature man, and like when he started talking about it, like at first I was gonna hit him with the comment and try and burst the bubble.
You don't want to be that guy.
I'm just gonna leave it alone, Like I don't really care that much about it.
Well, exactly.
So,
but these other people, I mean, are you? You're not curious about the characters.
No,
that introduce.
I'll listen to them.
But where they come from, their incentive.
Yeah, I don't care. I think almost all of them are ego driven.
I agree with that.
And then the other half of them are trying to make money and become famous. I don't know.
How do they have the confidence that they're going to make money and get famous by investing that time into it? Like, are these
They don't have
marketing.
confidence. They're not confident. They're just delusional. They're not. It's two different things.
Well, I've known delusional people, and I've never admired them for their ability to focus on one thing. I mean,
Well,
certain, you know, without financial incentive or at least some sort of cookie reward, like I, I've I've known people who were like bullshitters and salesmen that kind of
yeah,
behave in a charming way, and they get that thrill of just cracking the nut. Like the harder the nut is to crack, the more they enjoy it.
right.
But at the end of that, there's a financial motivation. So how can you get on YouTube where it's impossible to make money on YouTube as a real person? You can go in, probably cap out at like 600 or 800 subscribers before you have to start doing something to get more fake numbers to attract a larger audience. But you really can't make money
Yeah,
on it. You can't make money. You can build an audience, but you can't make money off YouTube directly. So there is the ego side of it. I agree with that, salesman. But uh,
right.
there's something else between this. Well, it's just ego driven, and it's government agents coming to control the stuff. I was like, I guess I'm just so curious about where they come from, because they first of all, these topics are only introduced. The topics that I've been curious about the last 5 years or whatever have only been introduced by these people. And then the seemingly real people who get a hold of these topics and try to unpack them can't really find a outlet or audience, or people don't listen, or something happens. They get blocked out of comments and things like this, or dismissed.
Mhm.
Like you just like there's certain sections you can't talk about aerosolizing in the sky. You can't. You, you you have to accept a certain dustification aspect of a building, and even no floors never took off the way. I mean, that's the path of least resistance is no floors. That's the one that can make sense. But
Right.
that's got no traction. That's a very interesting idea to unpack. But it never gets
Right.
beyond the ghost of Dover, and you know is I gotta agree. Say Dylan and Vishal did great stuff, but it's hard to listen to that much. You know, vitriol shit kind of gets buried. The good stuff kind of gets buried under it. It just seems like the
Right.
simplest thing should be able to come out in dialogue, and then these presenters stifle that discussion in one way or another through subtle forms or through technical technical forms like shadow banning and things like that. So I mean, that can't just be pure ego driven. That's got to be kind of your part-time job. Like, it's got to be like a financial incentive. So are these departments of like CNN sub departments? Like Zach Hubbard's always using CNN to go and do his analysis, and Chigozi Truth comes from that
Yeah,
background, and then
they always
Z,
go after the CNN. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
and then yeah, you see what just
But
spitballing
like
here. Like,
I don't
what
like
could
take
it be?
I don't take that any I don't really take anything away from those. Like anytime they're gonna decode a fucking CNN fucking headline, I just all right, whatever. I'll watch some of the numbers just to see like if there's anything interesting. But at the end of the day, everybody knows it's fake.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
like they're
I'm in that
just
same I'm in
yeah,
that
they're
same
just the
mentality. I
ones
don't
that
even watch them.
they just spin the wheels, you know. They just keep doing the same thing, and they're just
That's
kind of like one trick pony type things. You know, they're just going to talk about what they talk about and nothing else.
right.
You know,
And
so they're
so
just going
this
to go
comes
headline to headline. And,
So
That's what makes their content, you know.
do
So
you think,
they could be on the payroll, but I doubt it.
why do you doubt it?
Well,
Like, what makes you doubt that there's like, because you know, when magazines were they were competing with the internet, and then the magazines entered the realm of the internet, and then news wants to present itself on television, but it loses viewers, so it combines with the internet. It seems that there would be some sort of, what's that word we forgot, focus group, where it says, well, if we kind of stir up a little controversy here, we can, you know, create
yeah,
create
but like
viewership
look at
through
how
this. Hmm?
look at how small,
Because they're
like
not exposing
it's
anything.
probably not even it's probably not even 1%. It's probably not even 0.01%.
What
It's
is?
like I think like I don't know how many subscribers or how many people do you think see their videos? You know,
Well, they're, but these things take a long time to build interest. I mean, when Mark Sargent's
you
the
think they're
Mark,
gonna be they're like Patricia Steer, like they're the implants that like
well,
in 10 years when everybody's all like into gematria, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, well, they're like the
I don't, I think it's just steering an audience from a television. Well, this conspiracy thing definitely makes hay for somebody because they've been doing it. I didn't really understand in the 70s. There's still that conspiracy culture, and like Robert Anton Wilson's always referencing that, and all those guys, the Ken Kesey's and the Terrence McKenna's, and they're all woven through this conspiracy, uh, contrived hippie culture to fight the man and take drugs, and this whole sort of thing. It goes further back than I really understood. I mean, the Laurel Canyon thing kind of glued that stuff together. Whether that's true or false, it makes sense. But you got to build some kind of audience there for some reason. There's some reason to do that. So you start small. For example, the Mark Sargent character is obviously, like, that character he's presenting is a complete doofus. I mean,
yeah.
and that's the bait. The bait is he's such a fucking doofus that you just want to punch his face in. But that's just bait. That's like your reaction or my reaction initially, like, God, this is such a juicy topic. You just keep talking about the Truman Show and video games and holding that fucking ball. Well, within a year and a half, that had gone from this retarded, obviously retarded presentation on YouTube to like this BBC interview with millions of views. So there's the, you know, kind of the answer. It's that you create this thing, it takes a little bit of time, and then you present it to a wider audience. Now you have this doofus character, Mark Sargent, presented to millions of viewers, showing how stupid uh, flat Earth is. Because flat Earth, in and of itself, in that form, is fucking stupid. But they did this in the 70s too, with the Flat Earth Society and stuff. So there's a network of something, but I'm not buying into the government agents and the shills and stuff in that sort of capacity. So I don't know. For me, it's curious. I don't pay attention to it. I don't look at the content that these people make anymore. I'm just surprised that they stay around. And then something that's real, like a gematria, the use of gematria, it seems like giving it to people are using it in a way it's not, it's the people who know how to use gematria in a logical or creative way are being drowned out by a bunch of fucking disingenuous people who somehow are able to maintain these audiences and drown out narratives. For me, it's just interesting to pick it apart, because if I can see the mechanism of it, then I can build a breaking wind audience, or I can sell a stupid concept to a bunch of people, but for some reason I can never do that, no matter how sincere my approach is or how much time I invest. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is I want a job at CNN. Zach, if you're listening, give me the email to human resources so I can get on this alternative unknown media YouTube gravy train.
The unknown gravy train.
The unknown gravy train, the UGT.
The E train.
The E train, yes.
Yeah.
The grave E train, which is where we find Feature Man at the end of the gravy train.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so that's sort of...
I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, but I don't know.
You're just not interested.
You really think that, like, the media companies are going to pay, and then what are they going to fucking pay? Like, they can't make a living off of that unless they're like,
No, it's a side gig, and then sort of like there's incentives to, if you generate, these sort of numbers, not necessarily on YouTube, but in the inner workings, then we'll give you, just like how you incentivize people to do cold calling at call centers and things like that. And it's just, and you have like what do you call that? Like a support group and things like, not support group, but people that help you out with information. Like if you, or it's like, your presentation is a little, just whatever. The same thing they do with any sort of show. It's sort of a low level show where they're paying these guys that are ego driven, but incentivizing them financially so that they keep going. And some of them drop out and obviously have these weird things happen where they kind of disappear or they melt down. That's a really common thing for the characters. It's like they can't take the pressure, and then the other characters seem to gang up on them and sort of make fun of them or try to get their audience. So there's a competition of some kind. And it's connected. There's a connecting root there. And I don't, like I said, I'm just having a discussion. I'm just spitballing here. It's like I don't know what kind of budgets these companies have, but I mean, I have flattened my ass in cubicles and understood that there's a incredibly convoluted, complex network of just shit show, and sometimes things get money thrown at it, and sometimes budgets get taken away and people get fired and things get shuffled around. So it's not a huge leap of my imagination to think that CNN or whatever the main company would be that owns all of these networks has some division that, maybe it's just an exploratory program, but it seems useful to kind of explore that idea because, one, I don't hear anyone discuss it ever. And to me, it's incredibly interesting, but I'm getting the impression it's not that interesting. But the alternative is not interesting at all to me because if there is a CIA and an FBI, they really aren't doing what they're purported to be doing. And so there's obviously a media and a theatrical connection to it. It seems to be the nut of the fantasy. Like, not to destroy it, but just to kind of understand it. So it's like, oh, I'm getting a lay of the land here. I have an idea how to better navigate my judgment.
So are you like trying to tell me that Feature Man's a paid shit?
No, not at all. This has nothing to do with Feature Man. That was just sort of a jump off point because he's obviously like the most innocent guy. But it's been 5 years or something. There's channels they're not good. They get stuck on the same thing, and they keep leading the eye or leading the imagination to these prepackaged conclusions. and you can just hear it. You've listened to enough of this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that like some of these channels, like if they are owned and operated by media conglomerates, they would be trying to get advertisement dollars off of the videos, and at the same
Hmm.
time, like because they barely ever do anything for just one reason. So
Sure. Well, that's
I
why
think
it
it would
seems to
be.
be able to sustain itself this long. It has to have
I just,
many,
I just think it would be a lot more commercialized.
but
Like,
kind of presenting something as more amateurish. Like you see a lot of videos that look amateurish, but they obviously have some sort of professional backing. Well, the perfect example is the Sergeant Flat Earth Clues. That was like a presentation, and it was designed not to look too super professional. They kind of put a governor on it, so it looked a little amateurish or whatever, and then it gave it that homemade feel by putting a cell phone number at the end of it. That was pretty unique. It's pretty convincing that this is, oh,
what was this?
genius.
What are we talking about? What show? What
Oh,
movie?
the Flat Earth Clues. When Mark Sargent did his
Oh, I,
Flat
I
Earth
never
Clues
watched
thing.
it. Yeah, I
Oh,
never
I just
watched.
assumed you had seen that. Well, it was
No, I
just
never watched any Mark Sargent. I watched like two Patricia Steer videos, and like
well, that's
that was
kind
enough. That was enough for me.
Yeah, well, before that, it was just precursor was Mark Sargent. That's where this whole
Yeah,
dialogue
yeah, I
started.
know.
It came out of the
Yeah,
blue. And so the point is the videos were presented in a way where they look not too professional, but not too amateurish, a little bit like PowerPoint, just so it's easy to digest and that sort of thing. And it's not coming from this doofus character that is being presented. So it's just like, oh, that's kind of curious. But you can design things to look amateurish to attract that kind of audience. Just look at any of the book covers from the 70s talking about these topics. Find a book on the Akashic records from the 70s or meditation.
yeah.
It's gonna have some fucking clip art looking wackadoodle cover that just dismisses whatever content is in there.
Right.
It's probably useless anyway. But and when
Yeah.
you look back, you use the Charles Manson as a case study, or the JFK analysis. Like, what is all of this stuff, man? It's ego driven. Of course, these guys don't have direct media contacts, but okay, they supposedly get subscribers and listeners that contribute and things like that. All right, maybe, but like this thing just keeps persisting, and it's very interesting because it's the same model. It's something that looks amateurish, but it has a commercial route, but it doesn't look commercial. It
Yeah, I see where you're coming
but
from. I
it's not
just
nefarious. It's just business. It's a media business
yeah,
model.
yeah, they want to own all routes of communication. They want to own. They want to own all the
They want to get
airwaves.
all the money when because more eyes means more advertising, not just ideas, but you can advertise, products on the. A lot of
Yeah,
these guys will advertise products. I mean, if I was Sprite, I'd be uh, I'd be getting in touch. I'd be sending a guy to get in touch with Chugs McGillicuddy. What's his name? Badlands Chugs.
I going back to some of those channels that we were talking about with like the gematria.
Yeah,
I think it's more to drive people onto a website with a calculator on it.
Gematrinator.
Yeah, I think it's to drive people to that unsecured website.
What's the unsecured website?
all the whole thing. The whole calculator is unsecured.
Oh, the Gematrinator?
Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
I don't.
So these are
I don't
scam.
necessarily think that it's a media company, but I
Okay,
mean, it makes sense that it's media because a lot of the stuff that they're talking about is in the media. So
but that could be a way just to
I don't.
generating. You're just always going to have content there. So you just get this unlimited content that creates itself. Then you sit there and analyze it and drive people to the unsecured website. I agree with that. It also goes together with the convention thing because when you sell tickets to a convention and in the terms and conditions, it says if this convention doesn't happen, we still keep the money or a lot of Bitcoin sort of schemes. Well, so these are just people who are just fucking scumbags a lot of times.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I really don't buy or think too much into a lot of these things. Like it's primarily it's a form of entertainment,
You
and
know,
anything that I don't resonate with. I don't hold on to any of it
you don't get
really.
curious about it.
Yeah, I just if I don't think it's true, then it's not true. I'm not gonna like analyze it and like if I had a book in front of me that somebody wrote and I could read it and then yeah I would be in some sort of I don't know, I guess I would analyze it a little more, but I just I don't put too much credence in the stuff on the internet, on the web, you know
Well,
really at all.
the actual information, but the motivation behind it doesn't doesn't tickle your fancy.
Well, I don't really care, like, everybody's got to eat, it's going to either boil down to just some sort of self-satisfaction or money. So
Yeah,
uh
that's a good point. So it would be boring if like the end result is just it's always some self satisfaction or money.
well,
I
yeah,
guess
where
I guess it
where
I
where
guess the
else is it
interest
going to
is
go?
well
Where else is it going to go? Like you're going to fucking uncover like a plot of
I'm not
like
trying to uncover anything.
human trafficking. Like, oh, well, they have my family held hostage. If I don't get enough comments on my video, they're gonna assassinate my mother. Like there's
Well,
no there's nobody like actually being threatened here. It's all just you want to get eat off the bread line, or you just doing it for your self
I
satisfaction.
guess I don't understand that scenario. Not in my not in my realm of
Well, you know what I'm saying?
curiosity,
Like,
but I guess the mechanics of it. I mean, for example, the aerosolize thing. You can say, well, yeah, okay, this stuff is the aerosol, and it's happening in the sky. And most people aren't acknowledging it. It's just going to come down to what it is as self. It's either self satisfaction or money or both, combination of both. Well, it's like, yeah, that's definitely that's what you get at the end of the boiling pot once you've reduced it down. But
yeah.
sort of the nuance of it, there's different levels of uh, there's curious aspects to these things.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a on a personal level, whether you're curious about it or not. I'm not. I'm not curious about why people do what. I'm curious about, or more interested in doing my own thing,
Yeah, I hear you. That
and
makes sense.
not really giving a shit what other people do and why they do it.
But it does
Uh,
when it does. I guess when it interferes. when what other people do and why they do it interferes with your ability to do what you want to do. I guess that would inspire
Yeah,
a little more curiosity. For example,
if it's interfering, I don't know
because
how it would interfere. I don't know how it
taxman
interferes, but
taxman has to eat too. Police have to eat too.
yeah, well,
Sheriff's got to eat too. Got a family to take care of. But you seem curious about the uh, the rules and regulations that go along with that. So just to draw a parallel between my curiosity and the depth that I'll go into in my imagination, or sort of analyzing the possibilities, might overlap with your curiosity to untangle that sort of thing, to free yourself from their direct influence on your life. So I mean,
yeah,
these YouTube characters don't have any influence
yeah,
on my life. It's just it's like looking at an ant farm,
right.
and the pattern. I have a pattern recognition, and I recognize the pattern, but I can't get the. I'm working on the Saturday New York Times crossword puzzle. So for me, it's a self-satisfaction at the end. I just want to be self-satisfied that
Yeah, well,
I get it. It's
like
like, okay,
like drawing that parallel again, like like yeah, like if I'm out on the road and I get like a ticket or something, like I put myself out there, I put myself on their highway,
yeah,
like same way we're both putting ourselves on the internet,
yeah,
so you're susceptible to the
yes,
fucking garbage that goes along with it, like it's
yes,
it's like a non-disclaimer disclaimer every time you fucking double click onto the thing. You don't, nobody's ever presenting this as reality,
yes,
nowhere
yes.
to.
Well,
So like to me it's just like, you gotta just pick through and cherry pick what you want when you want it, and it's all subjective one way or another.
well, for sure. Again, masterfully deduced. Like
Yeah,
it boils down to that. And
yeah.
then we want to boil it down further. It just goes back to the I and I, boy. What is this shit anyway? We're obviously curious about the inner mechanics of that shit. I don't have any real concern for the Akashic records. I would like to say, I don't have any real concern over characters on YouTube. I basically just stopped watching it, except your channel anyway, or
Right.
Breaking Wind channel. But since we are, like, I can't break it off completely because I'm involved with this little dialogue thing.
We're on the same platform.
Yeah, so I can't completely cut it loose. So I'm in the water. So I imagine that's where a little bit of my curiosity comes, because I would.
Oh, I'm playing the game of probability. Like I know myself, and I know you, and I know Bad Luck Bill, and I know like one other dude, and they all have YouTube channels, and they're all real people.
Mm,
So as far as probability and percentages are concerned, I would say that a lot more people on the platform are genuine than
yes,
are
yes,
not.
that I agree, and I think we can
So
kind of all rattle around
yeah, yeah,
self-contained communities. No harm, no foul. Nobody really cares about it. It's not my
right.
concern.
And if you don't like it, if you don't like what they're saying, then they're a fucking paid shill. Fuck them.
Fucking FBI always on my case, man.
Yeah, but I did find YouTube gave me a great recommendation that I'm glad I clicked on
Okay.
today for what the fuck's the name of it? Crime pays but botany doesn't.
Okay. I didn't
Did you hear?
watch
Did you
it,
hear?
but I
Did you hear?
no,
Well,
but I
no,
saw it.
that's the channel. That's the
Yeah.
channel. But yeah, really cool character. You know, the guy seems pretty cool, and he knows a lot about botany. So
Sounds like something Mumbles might
yeah.
be interested in.
Well, yeah, I just said I was. Yeah. So
Like I said,
no,
this
yeah, check that out. That was pretty good.
no, I
That was
won't.
pretty got- fine. I don't care if you do that.
You always you're a greased pig, man. You can get out of any situation.
Yeah.
Teflon
Fucking Teflon Don.
Don.
Yeah.
Well, it's just about high time to finger blast.
Is it?
I'm glad that this connection worked,
Yeah,
but
I'm glad.
for anybody out there who's wondering, if you want to acquire an ethereal internet connection, it can be easily done with a extremely long piece of copper wire. And for more information on that, you're just going to have to suck it, because you will never know. We'll just say that desperation leads to innovation.
I'll have to find the details in the discussion forum on Craigslist, in an unknown city, in an unknown state. So get out there, start searching.
Get out there and watch your back. and, and be gay. For Christ's sake, just be gay already.
I do not condone this message.
Mumbles, I feel you distancing yourself from me.
Yeah, no, whatever.
I know.
Whatever you want to do, just don't rub it in my face.
Yeah. Just basically don't listen to this podcast anymore.
Yeah.
The Breaking Winds dialogue, the Breaking Wind Dialogues podcast hour has been brought to you by
Make it good for your heart.
Who is our sponsor this week?
I guess Craigslist.
The more you eat, the more you fall.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right. Thanks, Craig.
Linger there, touch your all summer long. We sang a song, and then we stole that golden sand. Sweethearts and the sacred.
The more you fight, the better you feel. So eat your beans.